practice squad saying, quote, "I just don't think playing on the practice squad is reflective or indicative of my career." Played with the Panthers last season, but has received just one offer in 2020. Reid joined Colin Kaepernick in protest during the national anthem back in 2016. In September, Kaepernick said the NFL was keeping Reid out of the league, tweeting, "While the NFL runs propaganda about how they care about black life, they are still actively blackballing Eric Reid for fighting for the black community." Eric set 2 franchise records last year and is one of the best defensive players in the league. So, Acho, is it a bad look Reid declined Washington's offer?
My dog.
Spicy.
It's a terrible look.
Terrible look.
Bad is an understatement. It's a terrible look for Eric Reid to decline Washington's offer. Let me preface with, in the NFL, you have egos. Eric Reid has accomplished a lot in the NFL, a whole lot. I believe he's made a Pro Bowl, former first-round pick. Like, dude has been a top-flight safety in his career. But I have to remind everyone, the market dictates your value.
Yes.
It is a terrible look because sometimes, Marcellus, we only give attention to certain parts of the story and not others.
Okay,
and let's just paint the full picture. We can't have Colin Kaepernick come out and say that Eric Reid is being blackballed, not being given an opportunity to get a job. But then he quite literally gets offered a job and he turns it down because it's not the job he wants. There have been more talented players except lesser. Let me bring up Dez Bryant. If the Cowboys would have won a couple Super Bowls, he'd be a Hall of Famer. Okay, he's not. But he's also the Cowboys' all-time touchdown reception leader. Will probably go in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. He just signed a practice squad deal yesterday with the Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk about a name y'all might not know, Brandon Carr. Drafted in 2008, started every single game since 2008, 192 consecutive starts. He started the season on practice squad. Let's talk about Cam Newton, a name everybody knows. He's the 32nd highest paid quarterback, a former NFL MVP. The market dictates your value. If you want to play in the NFL, then you got to take what they're willing to give you. And if you're not going to take what they're willing to give you, then at least let's tell the totality of the narrative. We can't have statements like you're being blackballed. You can't have your homies make statements like you're being blackballed. You can't have news outlets make statements like you're being blackballed because people will begin to believe it. The fact of the matter is, Eric Reid was offered a job. It might not have been the job you wanted, but it was a job you were given. I think it's a terrible look to reject an opportunity in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little off that fastball, even though I understand where you're coming from. I'm going to say it's not a bad look and it's not a good look. So I feel myself a little fence riding on this one because of experience. Now, everything you said is deadly accurate and true. In terms of who Eric Reid is, it's this seesaw effect of who you think you are and what the market and the teams think you are. Now, Eric Reid can sit out there and say, "Oh, last year, I was balling out of control," as Kaepernick wanted to testify for him as well. But we have to remind ourselves that he was on the 23rd ranked defense last season that allowed the 2nd most points in the NFL, which means you could be doing good in a bad situation, which makes most people look at you and evaluate and say, how good are you? Because the situation and the team was so bad. Let's see who he was in terms of ranking. Out of 71 safeties, Eric Reid was ranked 69th out of 71 safeties in 2019. Yuck. Has not made a Pro Bowl since 2013. Okay, so I understand why you still have visions of grandeur in terms of your ability, because you balled in your world last year. But in reality, in totality, they're ranking you much lesser than you want to be ranked. So it's hard to get that ego back in the bottle. It's hard to just get all of what you've accomplished back in the bottle, humble yourself, and now be in a position where you're a practice squad player. What retires players in the NFL is that ego mostly. Physically, you still can go out there and do it. Look, I was a 10-year veteran who had opportunities after that 10th year. And let me tell you what the egos told me. Hey, man, they treat you a lot different now than they did when you were on top of the mountain. And your ego is like, what? Players looking at you like they want you to be the one who goes and gets their helmet, go get their water, whatever it may be. And practice squad makes him, Eric Reid, think they're going to think less of me, ask me to be the do-boy on the team. That's not happening. So I can understand where his ego is. What retires you is I'd rather do nothing than go out there and be humble to that degree. And I feel Eric Reid is caught between having some success, but not enough success to earn the title that he desires.
And I'm with you. Like, I don't have an issue with rejecting the job. I have an issue with rejecting the job when the narrative has been painted that jobs aren't being offered.
Oh, okay.
That's where I have an issue.
Okay.
I have an issue with Marcellus, society right now is so divisive as it is that we just have to paint legitimate and full pictures.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue rejecting a job. My experience is my expertise. 2014, 2013, the Eagles trade for me from the Cleveland Browns. I make the team the first day on Saturday, final cuts, I make the team. Monday, I'm getting a fresh fade because we have a Sunday night game. I get a call from the general manager, Howie Roseman. Acho, we got to let you go. Dang. I get a call instantly from the New York Giants. They want to put me on practice squad. I hit up my agent. I say, hey, I just made a team. I'm not going to nobody's practice squad. What you mean? I'm a better player than a practice squad player. My agent said, well, do you have any other offers? I said, man, no. He said, well, then, it looks like you're joining their practice squad. Yeah. I went to the Giants practice squad, and I was on an active roster 5 weeks later. Practice squad is not a period. Practice squad is a comma. Yep. It is not the end. It is a means to an end. I have an issue, Marcellus, if we're going to paint a picture that the man is holding some people down, which, in my opinion, it is in some situations. We just got to paint a real picture because otherwise we're going to continue to perpetuate a divisive society. We're going to continue to perpetuate a divisive NFL. The NFL is the most divisive it's been since I've known it. And that's where my issue lies.
And I'm with you now on that part. That slice, that sliver. Let's talk about that. Where's your ego now versus where it's been throughout your entire career if you're Eric Reid? Like, if someone offered you just an opportunity to be on a practice squad in the beginning of your career, you take it because beggars can't be choosy. You just want an opportunity, a shot. But now when you feel like you have all of this equity, you've afforded yourself some privilege, then now you start looking at it like a luxury more than a necessity in terms of opportunity. And what do they say about luxury? It's the home of complaints because when you have so many choices, all of a sudden you get a little higher than the ground. You get a little higher on the horse. You start saying, I'm above that. And that's what Eric Reid is doing right now. Look, I don't like Eric Reid, the person. He knows that too, but since I'm not a fighter, he has nothing to do with me. Like, we ain't gonna beef this out. We ain't gonna scrap over this. But I like what he stands for. I just don't like how he goes about it. You're in a world right now where Earl Thomas doesn't have a job. If Earl Thomas ain't got a damn job, what are you talking about? You better jump yourself on the practice squad, except the ego can't accept that right now. And I think that's what's tough about him. And for Colin Kaepernick to say that he's being blackballed, not at all. It's a situation where he has been confrontational. He literally walked to midfield and had a scrap with a guy over policy, over a program, over $90 million committed to his cause. So I get the black power fist, but can you loosen it up a little bit and be a better teammate? That's what I think the message is being sent to him. Joined now by Fox NFL analyst LeVar Arrington. So, LeVar, is it a bad look Reid declined Washington's offer?
It's a bad look based off of the reasoning. And I think I'll echo what you guys have already been touching on. If you're going to decline it because you feel like, for whatever that reason is, you do not want to accept the offer to that team, then decline it, right? But to put it out there and for public consumption, knowing what you're attached to, it's a bad look because once you put something like that out there, it's going to be left up to interpretation. And everybody's going to interpret it the same way, which is they're going to associate it just like we did with what Kaepernick said about him being blackballed out of the league to begin with. So it's a bad look because even if you did not want to go to the Washington football team based upon these reasons, guys, you don't put that out there because you already know what's connected to what you have stood for in terms of things that you brought as peaceful protests and beliefs to the workplace. So now you're sending out a signal to every other team that you may want to go play on their active roster, and you're not taking into consideration the damage that a statement like that could be considered to be. Because you look at somebody like Antonio Bryant, who just got Daz Bryant, who just got picked up on the practice squad of the Baltimore Ravens. And the coach is already saying that they're going to play him. They're going to use him. So if you're as good as you know you are, you think you are, you have been, it shouldn't really be a problem. We're in COVID, guys. So just take an unconventional route in an unconventional time.
Correct. I'm with you right there. Let me put the people at home on game. Sometimes in the NFL, you don't necessarily deserve to be on a team, but you got a life raft. And that life raft is typically a head coach, maybe a defensive coordinator, maybe a D-line coach if he has enough power. It's the person who makes sure you stay in the league. When I got released by the Philadelphia Eagles, I got a call from Billy Davis. He was my defensive coordinator in Philly. He took me from Cleveland to Philly with him. All he said was, Acho,